Matt, let me ask you real quick. I haven't looked at anything. Does this affect them at all playoff wise?
Oh yeah.
This loss?
Oh yeah. I saw before the game their playoff odds dropped by about 11%, and that's just because the two teams right below them, Minnesota and Philadelphia, the 49ers beat them, so they hold the tiebreaker. And you add on to that the fact that they get a long rest before playing the Houston Texans, so they're likely going to win that game. But still, I mean, you had any shot. I was hoping that they could take care of business and then beat the Titans and go into the last week at 10-6 with a chance to go 11-6 and maybe compete with the Rams and the Cardinals, right there for that division. But this, puts all of that on the side. The Rams game now becomes infinitely more important, even if they beat the Texans. They still control their own destiny, but man, the margin just got razor thin. And another Jimmy Garoppolo performance like this, and it could be lights out for them. And that's not where you want to be. They completely had the power to, win this game, but Jimmy's going to Jimmy. And like I said, he's a lump of coal in the stocking of the 49ers for this season. And he's going to bah humbug them right out of the playoffs. That's how it's going to be.
I agree. I said it in the chat earlier, and you basically said, Zach, save it for the show. If the 49ers make the playoffs, which in all likelihood it looks like they will, I would not be surprised to see a performance like we saw tonight out of them. Because, yes, A.J. Brown is an absolute beast, and Julio helps, get coverage away. But what do you think these playoff teams have? They have fantastic weapons on the outside. The NFC has some of the best receivers in the NFL. So that's exactly what they're going to go against defensively. And on offense, I think opposing teams know the formula to beat the 49ers is just to take away the middle of the field, force Jimmy to throw it outside, stop the running game, and he's not going to overcome that. And that's unfortunately the truth.
The problem is the 49ers only let one guy get off, and that was A.J. Brown. Dylan saying, how are the Eagles and Vikings ahead of us with the same record when we beat them? That's not what I said. I said the 49ers have control their own destiny. 49ers hold the tiebreaker over Philadelphia and the Vikings. They have a better record right now, but if they were to finish with the same record, the 49ers hold the head-to-head. Man, A.J. Brown, 11 for 145, but nobody else did anything. Yeah. But, I mean, there were more problems than that. Third down was a huge issue for the 49ers today. Third down and long. Yep. That defense just gave up so many.
They couldn't get off the field. They could not get off the field.
Yeah.
Melissa's asking if there's any injury updates. Per Matt Mayoko, Azeez Al-Shaair is having
MRI on the knee.
MRI on his knee.
And
DJ Jones.
Debo just got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah.
He fell on
DJ
the ball.
Jones had an ankle. He was able to return. Yeah. And Debo had the wind knocked out of him. Debo, I want to give props to, because I know we're bummed out. This was an ugly loss, but what a hell of a game from Debo Samuel. 9 receptions, 159 yards, almost walked that one into the end zone, but he got caught. And it's just like it was going back and forth between him and A.J. Brown the whole night. Who could do it better?
Yeah.
And I know A.J. Brown ultimately got the win. The Titans did, but Debo is fantastic. And I know we've talked about this before, in my opinion, deserves MVP votes, because he probably won't get it. Russell Wilson has never gotten any. Debo probably won't. But I guarantee if I had a vote, Matt, it would go to Debo Samuel.
For MVP?
Yeah.
Honestly, this year, if there's going to be an MVP that's not a quarterback, if I'm being honest, it's going to be Cooper Kupp.
That's fair. It's unfortunate that Debo is having the season he is, and he's probably the second best receiver in his division.
Right. I mean, Cooper Kupp's got 122 catches and like 1,653 yards. Yeah. And on top of that, he's got like 14 touchdowns or something like that. I mean, he's having a great, and none of the quarterbacks are blowing the doors off of anything. Like none of the, Brady just got shut out by the Saints. So I don't think there's any standout. If there was going to be a year, I think it's going to come down to Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, who is also having a hell of a season. So
that's a great, that's
pretty
a great
crazy.
Shout. Yeah. George Kittle, he had some nice catches to start the game, or in the beginning of the game. I'm trying to pull up the stats right here, but ultimately
he had 2 catches for 21 yards.
Okay, so that's what it was.
Yeah.
It's just not enough, guys. It just wasn't enough ultimately, and a lot of it does fall on Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you expect him to I already know your answer, but it's like to turn it around if they get into the playoffs, Matt. Do you expect Jimmy Garoppolo to maybe play a little more conservatively? Kyle call plays differently to protect him from making these boneheaded throws?
I mean, they were chunking it down the field when they were doing those rollout screen passes and those rollout throws to the flat. It's when Jimmy Garoppolo had to make a long throw that he got into trouble. And again, I say this every time when Jimmy Garoppolo has a great game. I always say it. I don't understand why the defense allows him to throw over the middle. If you force him to throw outside on a drop back, he's going to screw it up. That's just what he does. And they took away the middle of the field. Jimmy tried to press it there anyway and had multiple interceptions doing that. Yeah. So the 49ers cannot, they're going to have to take the 2019 playoff playbook and implement that. And you need a running back. By the way, all you Jeff Wilson Jr. stands, he played like shit today. So 3.2 yards a carry is not going to get it done. And the 49ers running game is just not good. Yeah. Not good. They need real running backs and not these piecemeal fourth stringers that they're running out there. Yeah. You know, once again, Deebo Samuel was the best running back the 49ers had today. And it's not like that when Elijah Mitchell is able to play. So hopefully he can play with the extra time off and he can come back and play the Texans. And honestly, I would see how the Texans game goes. It's you know, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, it is unfortunate because you lose Raheem Mostert in week 1 for the year. And then, but it's okay because Elijah Mitchell's looking fantastic. He's got that lightning speed, not quite Mostert, but close enough that this offense could still work. And then Mitchell gets injured and he's out a couple games. He comes back and then he's out now 3 games. Hopefully he can come back for this Texans game. I believe it was the knee injury now that he cleared concussion protocol. But you're 100% right, Matt. What Mitchell is able to do with this offense takes it to a whole nother level because when Jimmy's not getting it done, you can just call a couple runs to Mitchell, and that lightning speed he's able to hit the hole with just changes everything. And the Niners desperately missed that today. Desperately missed that.
Yeah.